Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Sunday, January 17, 2016, around 8:25 in the evening in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's starting to snow out right now. The first flakes are flying in Billerica, Massachusetts. Some parts of Massachusetts already have a dusting of snow. Other parts haven't had any yet. But it's going to be at least coatings to as much as 6 inches. Depends where the heavy bands are. The most vulnerable places are Cape Ann and the North Shore and Cape Cod and South Shore. There could be some communities that could have 6 inches. If you go 20 minutes down the road, could be 1 or 2 inches, or maybe a coating or half an inch, and maybe some snow squalls Monday. All this week is going to be cold in New England. Sub-zero wind chill values, bundle up, and next Saturday, could be a major nor'easter with snow. They're talking 1 to 2 feet, preliminary estimates, but that's way into the future, maybe 6 days into the future. Keep you posted. One little tidbit: the Denver Broncos beat the Pittsburgh Steelers by the score of 23-16, meaning the Broncos will face off against the Patriots in Denver next Sunday at 3 p.m. on CBS with Jim Nantz and Phil Simms and Tracy Wolfson calling it. And this will be the 5th time Peyton Manning and Tom Brady met in the playoffs, 4th time to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. Should be a great game. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog of the night's the personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is about professional wrestler and trainer, the Doctor of Desire, Tom Prichard. Tom Prichard had a long and illustrious career in professional wrestling. He was a big star in some southern regional territories, and eventually he was part of a legendary tag team, the Heavenly Bodies. After his in-ring career ended, he became a WWE trainer, and he trained some great superstars. Tom was born and he grew up in Texas. He loved watching Houston wrestling, Paul Bosch, and he had a younger brother who was in the business as a front office worker. Bruce Prichard, who was known to WWE fans as Brother Love. I love you. That's another subject for another day. Tom wanted to become a professional wrestler, and he was trained by former WWE champion and Hall of Famer, the Iron Sheik. Tom made his professional wrestling debut in 1979 in California in the old Mike LaBelle territory. He was a tag team wrestler. He teamed with Chris Adams, and they won several America's Tag Team Championships for that territory, and he has a few other partners. His famous moves, finishing maneuvers with a sleeper hold and the Boston Crab. When Mike's company folded in 1982, Tom went to Portland to wrestle for a while. Then he wrestled in some smaller southern territories for a few years. Then in 1987, Tom got a big break when he went to the Continental Wrestling Federation that was in Alabama and Knoxville, Tennessee, and he was a good face there, and he had a memorable feud with the dirty white boy Tony Anthony, and it started on an edition of Continental Championship Wrestling program, April of 1988, and Tom was having an interview with the Dean of Wrestling Announcers, Gordon Soley. Then the dirty white girl Kimberly had a black eye, and she wanted to talk to Tom. Tom listened to her, but then the dirty white boy Tony Anthony attacked. Tom beating him up and cuffing his hands and hanging him. This was a controversial angle years before ECW or WWE would do acts like that as storylines. A lot of television stations that carry Continental didn't like that at all. They were threatening to put it off the air. And then Tom gets his revenge and having a feud with the Dirty White Boy for months in the Continental. And eventually Tom Prichard wins the Continental title from the Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony. Then he has feuds with Wild Wonder Cooley when he turned heel for a bit, and then he turned back face to beat Dennis Condrey, known for the Midnight Express, in late 1989. But that's when Continental folded and Tom went to the USWA. He turned heel. He had feuds with Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. He even formed a tag team with Eric Embry, and they had won a few USWA World Tag Team titles, but eventually they had a falling out, and then they had feud over the USWA World Championship or title, which the Max called the US Southern Heavyweight Championship, and they've had a feud back and forth. Eventually, Dr. Tom Prichard left USWA to go to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and he teamed with Stan Lane, and they formed the Heavenly Bodies, managed by Jim Cornette. And Jim Cornette gave him the nickname the Doctor of Desire. The Heavenly Bodies were great Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. They held it a few times with the Lane and Prichard combination, having a feud with the New Fantastics, Jackie and Bobby Fulton. And then the Rock and Roll Express. They even had a couple of matches on WCW television with the Rock and Roll Express and the Heavenly Bodies. Eventually, Lane had a Drop-A-Loser Leaves Town match to the Rock and Roll Express, and then Tom Prichard gets a new partner, the Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey, who was actually a wrestler in Florida called Jimmy Backlund, who was basically a job guy in Championship Wrestling from Florida and a few other promotions in Florida, and they continue to feud with the Rock and Roll Express. And then the Heavenly Bodies go to the WWE as basically enhancement talent. They won a few television matches, but then when they faced the big teams in WWE, they would do the jobs and stuff. They had a good match with the Steiner Brothers at SummerSlam 1993, and in Survivor Series 1993, the Heavenly Bodies beat the Rock and Roll Express for the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championships on the WWE pay-per-view at the Boston Garden. Eventually, Tom left Smoky Mountain for good when they folded down, and then he signed back with the WWE, but he got a new gimmick. He cut his hair short and he dyed it blonde, and he was Zip of the Body Donners, Skip's brother, and they were a new tag team managed by Sonny. They feuded with the Smoking Guns. Eventually, they won the WWE Tag Team Championship against Godwins at the Free For All at WrestleMania 12. They only had a 2-month title reign. And then the Body Donners, get dumped by Sonny and eventually become a jobber tag team. And Skip, who was Chris Candido, left the WWE because he couldn't stand the clique. And then Dr. Tom Prichard actually became a trainer for the WWE, and he trained a lot of wrestlers, including The Rock, Val Venus, Mark Henry, Brackus, and so many others. Once in a while, he would go to do some dark matches wearing a mask called Mr. X. And he was a very good trainer for the WWE for years. He appeared on the old WWE show Bite This, He was let go for the WWE for a few years in the mid 2000s, and he wrestled in some independent promotions, actually winning the big title in the UWA. It was an independent promotion in the Northeast. He was in his late 40s. Then he comes back to the WWE as a head trainer for the developmental territory in Deep South and eventually Florida. And he was let go in 2012, and he still trains wrestlers from time to time, freelancing. He's appeared a couple of times on Kevin Kelly's podcast. He wrote a book, and he's been a great hand in training and stuff. Tom was, a very, very good wrestler, kind of underrated in singles, with getting in the late 80s and stuff, and he should have had a decent run in WWE or WCW as a singles wrestler, because I think he could have been maybe a IC or US title contender and stuff. But his time in WWE with the Heavenly Bodies, they were basically job guys, a job tag team, which was disappointing because they were great in Smoky Mountain as the tag team champions, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express. That's about it on Dr. Tom Prichard. And this is about it on the video blogs tomorrow, because it's the holiday, Martin Luther King Day. Only 2, because when there's holidays, I just cut it down to 2. One will be about the 2015-2016 NBA midseason report, tell you what's going on in the NBA at the halfway point. Second video blog of the day will be about Robin Yount tomorrow. There'll be lots of other blogs coming in the days, months, weeks ahead. Big surprises coming. Don't forget, if you want shout outs or plugs or anything you want me to talk about in a future video blog, private message me and it will happen. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Bunning guy. Molly Rosenblatt of WCCO rocks and has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart is so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swansea's awesome. Alex Cordry of Channel 7 in Boston is a very cute blonde with nice legs. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Sharkey, this action will not be tolerated. BMHS. Good night. Goodbye. Good luck. Take care.